start. Now you know I'm coming through. When the growth look good on you, best believe they wanna screw now. I've been trying to climb, devil threw me in the dark. Baby, don't be insecure, you can still go make a mark like blow. Could never let them drain my soul now. Blow. Tables turning like doorknobs, wow. Blow. I think I'm about to set sail. I'm a walking, living legend, walking with my chest out. Life keep dealing me cards, I keep feeling it.
What is going on, people? You know what time it is, you know what it is. We're back in the damn building. It's G and we are here for another Scout Watch, and today we're going to be talking about Belgian centre-back Arthur Theate. He is now currently playing in Ligue 1 for Stade Rennais. Very, very good, comfortable ball playing, left-sided. Yes, I said it, left-sided centre back. A name that's actually just cropped up as of recently, not in regards to Liverpool or anything like that, but just a name that's actually just cropped up. You know, I've been looking for some left-sided centre backs. I can't remember the guy's name. I think his name was Pravnav. On Twitter. I hope he doesn't mind me mentioning his name. He actually wrote about him, and I took a little look at him just to kind of see, you know, not someone that I'd seen too much of, you know, so doing a little bit of research behind him was pretty interesting, because he wasn't really a player that was on my radar or anything like that. Definitely a player I've seen Rennes play, you know, last season, but he wasn't really someone I realistically noticed. So I went back to watch, you know, a few games, and pretty decent, you know, and I can see as to why a couple of people have mentioned him, and, you know, in passing, you know, so to speak, but definitely an interesting player. But obviously, you know, before we dive into anything, please, guys, make sure you smash a like, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe to the damn channel. And yeah, let's get into it, man. You know, we're on the road to 600, I think it is. Yeah, on the road to 600 subscribers. So, you know, thank you to everybody who has already subscribed. Hopefully this video is being recorded today on Sunday the 9th of July. So whenever this does obviously get posted out, let's hope that we can obviously push past that number 600. So looking at someone like Theate, we can see here, as I mentioned before, he is a ball-playing centre-back. We can see here where his areas of expertise obviously lie. And this is where I keep mentioning, I've mentioned before about defenders, I do need you to be able to do both, or you're going to really have to excel in one area, i.e. you're going to have to be an amazing defender, in terms of the actual defending part, the tackling, the interceptions, you know, the blocks, clearances, etc., etc. Or you're gonna have to be really good going the other way, and he is really good, you know, going the other way. What's interesting about him, you know, reading up on him as an individual, he's had like a weird start to his career in a general sense. You know, he has got, I think he's appeared 8 times for Belgium, the Belgian national team. So again, you know, he is making that step up. He is someone who is held in high regard in that sense. As I mentioned, obviously moved to Rennes at the 22-23, you know, season, you know, replacing Arthur, is it not Arthur, sorry, replacing who is that, Aguerd, that's the one who moved to West Ham. He kind of replaced him in that back line. It's a weird one. He was knocking about, you know, in the youth days, you know, playing for Genk, then Standard Liège, then went back to Genk, then went back to Standard Liège, and then Standard Liège then let him go again. You know, when they let him go, he went to Ostend, you know, in Belgium, and it was kind of like, okay, he went there for a little bit, was there for 2 seasons. Obviously, again, he's still quite young. He's only 21 years of age, I believe now, so still quite young. So, you know, hadn't really found his feet or anything like that, you know, as a centre back. Then obviously he's gone to Bologna. Now, when he's gone to Bologna, that's when things got really interesting, because, you know, in his first few games for Bologna, they were playing with the back 4. They played really, really poorly with that back 4, you know, in there. So that obviously prompted the then manager at that time to then decide that they go to a back 3. And that's where it kind of started, you know, for Theate in playing in a back 3 and playing as that left-sided centre-back, because he is kind of like the hybrid mix of someone who can play left-back because of his abilities on the actual ball. He's able to get up and down the pitch. He's got good technique. He's got good ability on the ball, good dribbling ability and things like that. So it would have been kind of seamless for him. You can see here with the heat map, you know, he is someone who can get up and down, you know, the pitch. So in terms of playing on that left-hand side, he would have been comfortable, in my opinion, playing as a normal left back or left full back, wing back, whatever you kind of want to call them. But then at the same time, being able to slot back in to that kind of centre back role, I think in a back three works really, really well for him, because defensively he is okay. So you might think maybe stick him out on that left hand side, but if you are trying to play out, from the back, having him there on your left hand side might actually be okay. You can see here, obviously, when Rennes have obviously played with the back five. He's obviously, as I mentioned there, he's in that position. And obviously, when they play the 4-1-4-1 formation, he is the left-sided centre back. So he's able to move from a back three, back five into a back four. He's played multiple of these positions. But as I mentioned, when he was at Serie A at Bologna, it was the turning point. I think it was after like the first 3 or 4 games, they conceded like 12 goals. The manager obviously had to change things around. And when they put him there, that's when he really started to click into gear. And then obviously moved to Rennes, the beginning of the 22-23 season. When he's now moved there, again, his game has gone up again. And that's where you're really starting to see, the best of him, in terms of his abilities and in terms of, what he can actually do. In terms of the type of defender, when he is defending, he is a very physical defender, sticks tight to his opponent and puts them off their game. That's one of his biggest strengths, along with his tenacity. Even if he is beaten a couple of times, he usually bites back very, very quickly. Again, you can see he's got that level of intensity about his kind of game. Would I like to see him playing for Liverpool? I think it's maybe too soon. I would like to see him for a full season. So next season, I am going to really put my eye out in terms of watching him and what he can actually do, next season. I think right now he's at a good base. He's been bouncing around teams on loan here, coming back, bounce around in the youth days and stuff like that. I feel like now he's maybe got himself a level of stability that's going to obviously serve him well in the future. That's where I'm now going to be looking at him and thinking, okay, now that you've got this, are you now a player who can, in this kind of position, put yourself out there where we can see the best of your qualities? As I mentioned before, he has already got himself 8 caps, for Belgium. So it's not like he's sitting there and he hasn't really got games. Last season, he played 42 times. He got himself 5 goals last season with 1 assist. So he is a goal threat. In the attacking sense, I don't think there's any real problem with a player like him. For me, it is just more, when I look at him, it is just more the defensive side, of things, in terms of, obviously you can see here in terms of tackling, interceptions, blocks, clearances. He's not really ranking too high in that regards, and that's not where his area of expertise obviously lies. While his passing is cut above the average centre back, Theate's ball carrying is something that truly sets him apart. He is deceptively quick and skillful, particularly in tight areas, and possesses a burst of acceleration from a standing start. Combined with his ability to beat a man one-on-one, this means he can often take opposition players by surprise, and uses this to start attacks by driving into the midfield before choosing the right time to shift the ball to a teammate. Again, all of these kind of things, they're all just plus points, in regards to Theate. Again, when he is pushing that ball forward, because of the areas of the pitch that he is taking up on that left-hand side, and also being able to cut in and being comfortable playing out wide, for me, it is just, he's still young. So it's just more about eradicating some of the rawness of his actual true ability, in terms of when he does make those mistakes, when he does go in a little bit rash, when he is a little bit too aggressive, to the opposition. I think if he can just get those kind of little things out of his game, or just kind of ease them out of his game, you might never actually fully take them out, but you can always improve upon them. If he can just kind of ease those kind of things out, I do think you have got a very interesting player. And as I mentioned before, left-sided centre-backs, they're becoming a hot commodity at this current moment in time. Every team seems to want one. If you've got one already, you're very, very lucky. The Inacios, the Levi Colwills, the Salibas, the Vardios, the Nathan Akes, of this world, so many different types of players, and that's just me talking about the high profile ones, so to speak. But there's so many others, out there. Hensape, from Bayer Leverkusen, Lukiba from Lyon. There's so many different ones out there that it's becoming a big thing. Before it was always, right-sided centre-back. Even, when I'm looking at Liverpool, looking at a defender, I almost feel that they wouldn't even go for a right-sided centre-back. They'd probably more likely to look for a right-back and then get a left-sided centre-back, because that just seems like what we're the area of the pitch that maybe Klopp is more looking at, as opposed to a right centre-back, even though I feel like he needs to get both. I feel like we need 2 defenders, 2 midfielders. It's just still one of those kind of things out there in Europe that just seems to be, the kind of thing. So, we'll wait and see. And when it does come to Theate, he does play for Rennes at this moment in time over there in Ligue 1. So, he's playing at a decent level. He's playing at a decent level enough in order to put himself out there and showcase his skill set, passing ability. Really, really good. You know, he is someone on the ball I definitely would be, you know, relatively comfortable with. You can see here passes attempted in games, you know, ranks in the top 11% of that. Pass completion, progressive passes, he ranks in the top 2%, you know, of centre backs out there, you know, in Europe. Progressive carries, really, really good. So you can see again, bringing the ball out, comfortable on the ball, all of these buzzwords, all of these things. That is where he obviously excels. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see where his future lies. But I just thought it was a little bit interesting to kind of have a little word, you know, in regards to him and, you know, what he's kind of all about, you know, because he is a name that's obviously popped up. I might, you know, if Liverpool were to ever get linked to someone like him, I might take maybe an even deeper dive into how he may be able to set up in this team. But for now, I'm just giving you guys kind of just a short little intro into Arthur Theate. If you've never really heard of him, go check him out. He is a decent player. But guys, let me know what you think. Is this a player that you know you would like to see play for us? Is this a player that you think has got a big future? For those who've obviously watched a lot more of him than I have, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm G, Scoutwatch done, and I am out.